Welcome to the new and improved Still Are the Tims, where I have Naz, Phelim, and Davy who are going to emancipate ourselves from the mental slavery of supporting Celtic and try and somehow make any sense of what the fuck is going on. So, I'm going to start with the transfer window. I'm going to come to you first, Davy. What did you make of it?
Absolute disgrace, Paul. I mean, I think we were all at the stage where we were thinking, surely to fuck, we've got to. When the news broke that Ida was gone, and we still had a couple of hours, I thought, right, we're going to get somebody, we're going to get a centre forward in. And yet again, we're left reeling and disappointed and raging and every other fucking thing you care to mention along the lines. It's just no good enough.
No. I mean, especially Naz, to extend Davy's point, Brendan Rodgers categorically stated that Ida wouldn't be allowed at the door unless there was a replacement in first, yet he was.
Well, it looks like he's been sold a pop again, hasn't he? Because I think that I think the board have been caught with the pants down again. We're thinking that boy Anderlecht was a done deal. Ajax coming in at the last minute has basically scuppered it, and as per they've got no backup plan. But then again, they had plenty of time to lock the boy down. They left it to the last minute, and even with that boy, it was reported that we'd agreed a few days ago. What were they waiting for?
That's the most baffling thing, Phelan, because it's like, a picture of the transfer window could be the Yang scenario where, the guy gets messed about, and we've heard now it's not the first time it's happened to Celtic players. And the bizarre thing about that is that Yang gets his move blocked whilst we bring in a winger, and Ida goes when we didn't bring in a striker.
It's hard to know where to start with it, really, the shit show it has been. And if we take it back to Saturday, and even we hear Johnny Kenny is going to Bolton, having just signed a 5-year deal, and Ida is being let go. And like you say, the Yang thing was, now I'm not sure too many of us would be shedding too many tears if Yang had gone to Birmingham, but that's beside the point. The whole process was embarrassing from what we're learning, and we're losing players now. Players are choosing Charlton over Celtic. No disrespect to Charlton, and they just don't seem to care. The board, don't seem to care. They clearly don't care, because the disconnect now, and as Chris Sutton said 2 weeks ago, the arrogance, it's just staggering at this stage.
Yeah, it is. I mean, one of the things that came out the Yang thing, Davey, and I'm sure you can relate to this being a big boss man yourself, Birmingham City couldn't get Michael Nicholson on the phone.
Unbelievable, Paul. And that's after letting them go there and basically be on the verge of signing. So they obviously had their approval somehow for it to get to that stage, and then at the last minute.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, what's got to be remembered this is, I mean, I know they're on big money and everything else, I'm not the common man, me and you, but this is guys' lives. These are people that are they're making it's their lives. It's not just their careers, it's their lives. So I mean, he's probably been looking at that stage of going and moving his whole career, everything down there, and for Michael Nicholson not to pick up the phone, and obviously it's not been the first time for what we've seen with which came out with Seacrest and the aftermath of that. It's an absolute utter lack of respect, not just for the fans, but obviously now this seems to extend to the players.
Yeah, definitely. And it's difficult. Like, I've got to say this, Naz. See this scenario that we're in now, in this kind of bubble we're in right now. The only saviour of the season I can see is if Brendan Rodgers goes, because we've had a whole summer of him saying, "Well, I've told them," and then even at Ibrox he was saying, "Very busy day tomorrow," blah blah blah, and he seemed quite fit, and it just never happened. And now we've got a scenario where, I mean, I believe Maida's been told he can go in January and he wanted to go now, and he's mightily pissed off. Obviously, Yang's going to be raging. Ida didn't want to go, that kind of thing. I mean, where on earth are we going to inject any life into this season now, Naz?
Well, I think the biggest problem here, and I think the board have kind of doubled down on it, is that Brendan Rodgers has stated that he would do his 3 years.
Yeah,
And given the way that he left last time, and I'm pretty sure I brought this point up before, I don't think it would have taken something absolutely cataclysmic for him to basically walk away, and that would then allow the board to paint him as a bad guy, deflect everything back, say, look, he did it last time, he done it again. They would have let their lackeys in the media and within Celtic online media, etc., put a target on his back, and he's obviously pissed off. There's players that are pissed off. That were made promises or wanting to go. I mean, Med has been here almost 4 years. That's a lot longer than a lot of players spend at clubs. We should have cashed in on him at the end of last season, but as per, we've got no backup plan. The manager, even if he was to sanction a sale, has got no confidence players are going to come in. So he's obviously trying to kind of build the squad up for this season without even knowing if he's going to have the right number of players that he needs. And that's obviously seeped through to the players as well in the squad.
absolutely. I mean, Phelan, the whole squad thing is just absolutely insane. When we've basically laid out £13 million in this transfer window and taken in 30, whilst an extraordinary amount of money in the bank and all the rest of it. I mean, is this basically just saying to Brendan Rodgers, we are not willing to back you?
Well, I think that doesn't really need a yes. I think it's quite clear. The dogs in the street would say that. We said this, I think it was last week on the pod, that we didn't unfortunately get released. That squad is so threadbare. Taylor was allowed to go, and we bring in Tierney, which was brilliant, but who clearly, apart from his lack of fitness, his form is alarming as well. Maybe they go hand in hand, but Tierney hasn't had a good hour at all anyway in the games he has played. It showed again at the weekend who we were bringing on against a really shit Huns team that was there for the taking, but because our mindset, I felt, was so negative, and it dawned on us they were shit, we didn't have the quality to get it over the line, or the mindset. The mindset mainly, but I think the quality then what we brought on was that it's arguably the worst squad in terms of depth that I can remember in a long, long time.
Yeah,
and we've had some bad ones.
Yeah, I mean the point Phelan makes here, Davey, about negative attitude on Sunday and all that. I'll take you back a few 2 or 3 years where when we threw 2-all at Ibrox and we were up against it, we're getting beat 2-1, and Kyogo comes up with a goal. We didn't have players like that anymore at Celtic Park.
No, you've not got a match winner, somebody to dig you out the hole, and that extends right through the team, the spine of the team. I mean, at one point you were looking at the only person on Sunday there to make anything happen was Big Carter Vickers come out with defence a couple of times with the ball at his feet, which was ironic. But you're spot on, Paul, and you're looking for inspiration for somewhere, and it's just no forthcoming. But what I'll say about we've got quality, no matter what our quality isn't what we expect, but it's still enough to beat them. The thing that was lacking for me on Sunday was courage. If we showed a bit of courage, we'd have won that game hands down.
Aye. And I mean that's the thing. I think I wrote about this, Naz, yesterday, that whilst all this kerfuffles went on with transfers and players and wingers and strikers, other areas of the team are not getting addressed. Sorry, what's this happening? This film going off. And so, you've got people like Engels who hasn't been performed for ages, and you've got Callum McGregor who seems to be fading, Schmeichel who seems to believe he's in hype, Naz. That doesn't even get spoken about as concerns.
Yeah, so it just goes to show the lack of planning, the lack of preparation. We should have been backfilling positions in the last window, but as we've already spoke about, we only deal with things when they're at the door. We don't plan ahead. We don't look ahead, and it all comes. There's Brendan's got some issues and how he managed the team in the last few games. That's that's on the manager. There's blame there, but the majority of the blame is on the board and the strategy and the recruitment team, because they knew what kind of manager they were bringing in. They knew what level of players he would want. They gave him a whole load of players he didn't want in the first year. He dealt with it. In the second year, put his foot down. They waited till the last minute, overpaid, and then used that as an excuse to say, well, we can't do it again, and we can't afford this, we can't afford that. You only have to look across the river at the Huns, and they've spent, what, 8 million on one guy on transfer day, and then Miovski for 6, was it? So they've spent probably as much we have in our whole total squad this season. They have just on 2 players in the last week. And
well, speaking of depleted squad, we seem to have lost 2 people.
Yeah, I see that. What a metaphor that is.
I don't know what the hell happened there. I noticed that Phelan was disconnecting, like the Wi-Fi thing, and then Davey just disappeared as well.
Yeah, I've seen that on my side as well there. So I've seen a message drop in. I think they're trying to reconnect, so hopefully they'll get back on.
Yeah, but I mean, this guy, it does. I mean, there is the manager's got to take some blame as well, because believing it's Einstein's definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. It's the same way, like a supporter said to me today that they need to come out and take responsibility for the state they've left Celtic in. And I'm like, but when have they ever done anything like that? When have they ever put their hands up and said, we've made an arse of this wasn't happening, that wasn't happening, etc., etc., etc. It's just a case of not say nothing and hope for the best.
Oh, absolutely. And on the point of obviously the manager there, regardless of the issues with recruitment, we have the guts of a squad that should have done a treble last season. We should be able to put together better performances, to go 3 games, Levy aside, without a goal. And you noticed in the Livingston game when they had Engels and Bernardo starting, that it was a lot more progressive. It was a lot more quick, direct play. And when you look at the last 4 games, that's the one that's been the most pleasing to watch, because the last 3 games have just been passing back, passing side, and that's all down to the manager. Now,
yeah, I mean, it's funny because he said that a guy said to me after that game that was a game he'd enjoyed the most since we won 5-1 at Pittodrie, which was also a different squad. It was nice to have you back, Phelan.
Thank you.
We were just killing time till you got back.
I know that. Yeah.
But I suppose the question, we'll move on to kind of Sunday and all that kind of thing, because Phelan, I mean, it's something we've discussed in off air and stuff like that, but it's becoming stale, isn't it?
Oh, it's really gone stale. There's cautious, and there was Sunday. We just didn't seem to want to get up the pitch at all. It was so pedestrian. There was they broke our lines a few times. We didn't. Like, it took us an hour for Hatate to have a shot on goal, and it was straight at the keeper. Because I looked at my watch when we had the shot. It was exasperatingly negative, and that comes from Brendan. It has to, and players just want to play. They want to play and show off their talents. And if Brendan's going to leave, maybe it's best if he does, because he's an elite manager, but maybe his head is gone as well. What's going on around it? Why the fuck should I care anymore? Why the fuck should I care anymore? But he should. It's Celtic. You should care. I
know.
And it was a terrible, terrible watch on Sunday. It was just appallingly negative.
Well, I'm not really a stats guy. I didn't really like them. In fact, my personal bugbear right now, Scottish football, is that Ian Crocker who commentates. It's just stat after stat after stat. Like, nobody cares. But, and now this is to open up a segue for you, Phelan. There was a stat I heard last week that floored me. Yeah. Liam Scales had the most touches of any football player in Scottish football last season. Now, if that doesn't sum up how Celtic played, I don't know what is, but I know you wanted to say something about Liam Scales.
Yeah, I do. And look, and I know we've in the podcast we've done, I think criticism of Liam has been constructive and it's been fair. One of the Huns' goals last season at Ibrox was dreadful defending from Scalesy.
Yeah.
But Liam Scales is a defender. Now, okay, and he passed the ball out of play or misplaced a pass, and there's a pile on. And I know it's social media and there's fucking nutcases on social media. But to be honest with you now, Paul and lads, and anyone watching or listening, and you all know, and some people watching this know my affiliation to Shamrock Rovers. But Liam Scales is a defender. And Liam Scales is our best defender on Sunday. He was our best defender again away in the shit show away at Almaty last week. I think Liam has really stood up and being counted in terms of the nuts and bolts of defending. So what, he misplaced a few passes. So the fuck does everyone else. But because it's Liam, and in my opinion, I think this comes from a complete League of Ireland fucking snobbery, and I'm fucking sick of it. Because we didn't sign him from France or fucking Denmark or fucking Iceland, because he came from Shamrock Rovers, a tin pot league. Well, I tell you one thing now, Shamrock Rovers would have fucking beaten Almaty last week. And I'm just fucking sick of people getting on Liam Scales' case. He should never play for the team again. He's got over 100 appearances now at this stage. All but about 90 of them under Brendan, 85 maybe under Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers doesn't pick fellas who don't deserve the team, who don't deserve a place in the team. And over 100 games for Celtic. I'm just fucking sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're right, absolutely. He was the best player, Celtic player by a mile on Sunday, and his defending in the box was absolutely top notch. I mean, before the game, Majowski was the big hype, and Liam Scales snuffed him out.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I know his distribution isn't the best, and that has to be addressed. But you're right. I mean, what I do know is the players love him. They love him in the team because he's an out ball all the time and all that kind of thing. But whilst we're praising Scales, I know, Davey, you despise him.
Well, do you know, it just comes with the fact that you're just looking for more. That's all it is. And see, Liam Scales 20 years ago is the best player in the league by far, because what you want your defenders to do is defend, and he does that week in, week out. He's a solid. If you're talking about take away the distribution side of it, you're talking about you want your defenders to stand up and be counted and win balls in there. And without him, with a lost on Sundays, quite simple.
Aye.
I think you're probably right, Ferrum. There is a lot of snobbery with it. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that he was deemed no good enough for Celtic, if you remember, when he went up to Aberdeen. And people stick with that opinion, and they're not going to change that opinion when they see him putting the ball out the park and everything else. But his deficiencies pale into comparison when you're talking about others in that team. He's no the reason where we are the now, far from it. And without the man, we'd been a hell of a lot of worse place than now.
I mean, see that snobbery you're talking about, has that replaced what used to happen to players coming through? They used to always get the most abuse. It's as if, because you know what Celtic's all about, then you must be an absolute superstar all the time. Or do you, like Davey, despise Scales?
I despise his passing, but other than that...
I thought you were going to say you despise Davey there.
No, he's still with us. No, I mean, just on Scales there, the season before last, Rodgers' first season back, he was ever present in the team because he was paired with CCV, he was paired with Welsh, he was paired with whoever the hell else it was. He was the one that was playing week in, week out. He held that defence together. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think we would have... I think there's a chance that Huns would have won the league. So he's obviously developed from that season that he had at Aberdeen. He has limitations, we know, but this then comes back to the manager. If he's going to be playing him every week, he needs to set up the team around him. Can't have Callum McGregor coming 5 yards in front, ask him to pass the ball with him, and then giving it straight back and then causing to be a bother. That's not the way it is. Don't give him the ball there. No. Make angles for him.
I think you've identified what one of the problems is that too many players use Scales for that, and that's no his game. I mean, if you take you back, I think it was he played against Wolves at Lansdowne Road, I think, and he done really well for Celtic that day. And then he played another pre-season friendly, done really well, and then he was out the team completely for when we played St Johnstone, Rodgers' first game, and it was literally a day away from going to Aberdeen, and then the two centre halves we'd signed both got injured, and they were like, well, we can't let him go now. And he did step up, and as you see, the game at Ibrox, when Kyogo scored the winner, he was absolutely brilliant that day. And I think that most people were thinking we were going to get gubbed that day as well.
Can I just make one point there, Paul? Sorry,
Yeah.
just one quick point that what Davey said earlier. It's significant that Ange sent him on loan to Aberdeen. He didn't sell him. So Ange clearly felt there was a player there. So I think that's forgotten as well. And I always felt that was in Liam's favour. That Ange, I know, fucking balled him out of it one time for passing the ball back. But Ange sent him out on loan. He didn't fucking sell him. And I thought that was significant.
I tell you as well, I mean, first of all, did you know when Player of the Year in Scotland when he went to Aberdeen when he scored that goal against the Huns? To 40 yards. But I tell you what I was impressed with actually on Sunday was he was interviewed after the game, and he was really lucid and intelligent and spoke about proper football things. It wasn't just like cliche.
Yeah.
And, the guy was basically saying, oh, you were up against Majowski, and he kind of went, well, yeah, I know his game, I played with him. That kind of stuff. But we'll try and, I suppose we'll try and upset Phelan every week for his rant with him. But no, the game, it was obviously dreadful. I mean, I think collectively both sets of fans realised after about 10 minutes their teams were crap and probably weren't capable of winning the game. There wasn't a lot of singing, even for them, even the hymns of hatred or anything like that. And as you say, that cutting edge for Celtic just wasn't there. And that, as we said, we heard Bolton wanted Johnny Kenny. We thought that was the reason he wasn't in the squad. That's still not been explained to anybody. I think he would have made a difference on Sunday. I really do. What do you think, Davey?
Aye, I mean, all you're looking for is, I mean, you look at the boy when he scored the goal against Livingston, when he scored that third goal the week before. I mean, and he gets into the positions. All you're looking for is a break of the ball or one good ball into the box, and he's the man to do it. I mean, you'd put your money on Johnny Kenny before anybody else in that team they knew. If you're looking for a goal to put it away, and like you say, I'm still baffled how he wasn't even in the squad. And I mean, we'd have brought him on. I'm impressed with Shin, no doubt about it. But
so was I.
What we were looking for was a ball into the box and a predator, a penalty box striker, and for all intents and purposes, that's what Johnny Kenny seems to be.
Well, the thing is, right, Phelan, like, I was at the Livingston game and, my eyes aren't great now, and I didn't really appreciate how well Shin played, right? Done really well. And when he came on, he started roughing up Hun defenders. And I thought, God almighty, see if Kenny was there running past him with his pace. Kenny had done exactly the same thing at Ibrox the last time he played there when Maeda should have passed the ball over to him.
Yeah.
Just tell us what kind of player Johnny Kenny was at Shamrock Rovers.
His first season on loan, he was beset by injury and we didn't see the best of him. But last season, he was outstanding, and that got him. I think, from my information, is midway through last season in the League of Ireland, Brendan was going to sell him to us.
Yeah.
But then we got into Europe when our European football started. Johnny was scoring for fun in Europe, and they were big goals. They weren't tap-ins. They were big goals. They were important goals. They were brilliant goals. And Johnny was fully fit, and he bulked himself up. He made himself stronger. But Johnny has it all for centre forward, lads. He's got pace. He's got bravery. His movement is outstanding, and he's not afraid to miss. And Stephen Bradley said this, the manager, time and time again. Johnny will miss chances, but it won't faze him. He'll put himself in that position again, and that's a sign of a good forward. He's not afraid to miss. He doesn't hide. He doesn't let his head go down. And I was amazed that Johnny wasn't in the squad at the weekend at all. And I know, again, talk with my Shamrock Rovers hat on, but Johnny scored in Europe last season, I like to say, against good teams, against Rapid Vienna, a lovely goal, a key goal against Rapid Vienna away, that we got a 1-1 draw, and he scored the equaliser in the match we should have won. Johnny Kenny is worth his place in that Celtic team, in my opinion. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, and I think he'll probably get a lot more chances now. There was obviously the Europa League draw. Naz, any excitement for you?
No, not at all. I might have been more confident had we done the business we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I've not I've not bought a European package in a long time. I just fell right out of love with it a long time ago. But then I started getting back into it. I thought, right, okay, I enjoyed the games on TV. I didn't pick up the packages again, but others were able to do so on the ticket. And especially after last season, we were all confident that this team had everything it needed. We knew that Kuhn was going to go early. We knew that there was Kyogo had already gone. We knew there might be Maeda going. But what we all hoped for was that the team would get the reinforcement it needed. But more fool us to expect this board to actually do what they're supposed to do. And if anything, they went the exact opposite way. So now we're looking at this thinking, right, so we're starting off away at Red Star Belgrade. We've got Roma in December at Celtic Park and a few other tough games in between that. And to be honest with you, I'll watch the games, but I'm not buying a package.
Did anybody here actually watch the draw live?
No.
So, I'm sitting watching it, and first of all, they bring on Jurgen Klinsmann, right? So it's always somebody that'll do the draw and whatever. Then they bring on a magician. And I'm like, did he say that was a magician? And then they've got the usual setup with the bowls, the clear bowls and the balls, and he makes it all disappear. So I was like, this is fucking shite. What is going on here? But this was the prelude to the new way they do a draw, which was basically Jurgen Klinsmann going, press the button, and then the draw's made. And I'm like, is this fucking for real?
Fucking hell.
Are they not trying to tell me that they couldn't just put any draw they liked there? Because obviously I didn't watch the Champions League. I'm sure it happened there as well. Absolutely, mind-boggling stuff. But, I mean, Davey, will you be in Rotterdam in November? I know you're a frequent visitor in the Netherlands.
No plans at all to go. None of the games excite me at all, Paul, to be honest. And I think it's the same for the vast majority we're supporting it. That I don't know about the day trippers and stuff like that. They might fancy going and using it as a wee, like you say, going to other cities in Holland before they go down there. But no interest in it, honestly. It's different, like Naz says. We'll be okay, and then when the games come around, we'll be shouting at the telly. But that's as far as it will extend for me with this Europa League campaign, and it's all down to one reason.
Like what Naz said, Phelan, if we'd done the business that we should have done, then you look at it and say, right, well, we can have a good fist at this tournament. If we can progress in the Champions League, surely we can progress here, but your hopes get extinguished.
Well, I think the hopes are extinguished, but I think as well, because of the nature of how we came out of the Champions League, that we could see this coming. And the limp way we went out of it, I think, has totally deflated the supporters' enthusiasm for the Europa League. And to hear Naz and Davey there saying they're not going to be buying packages. I mean, you guys are the heartbeat of Celtic fans over the years, and now you're not interested. That just speaks volumes for the way for how fans are feeling. And I would share your lack of enthusiasm for the Europa League completely. And I'm here in Ireland, and I watch the games, obviously. But for guys like you who go all the time, to hear you speaking that you've no intention of going, that's just a damning indictment of where Celtic Football Club is at the moment.
Yeah, and I think you're right about the Kaira Almaty game. I mean, for me, the two games, that's the worst result in Celtic's history. And I didn't say that lightly. I've seen some horrendous things. But for a lot of reasons. First of all, to go 210 minutes against that team and not be able to score a goal was absolutely criminal. That team were like the Airdrie team of the 90s. It was like, if it moves, kick it. If it doesn't move, kick it till it does.
Yeah.
They go down at every opportunity, which, by the way, is now an epidemic in the modern game. You're getting games of football lasting almost 100 minutes now because of the added on time. And for example, the game on Sunday the ball was only in play for 42 minutes. Now, you're asking people to pay 60 quid to watch that. It's just not happening. So, but you should be better to against these teams. I mean, they made a chance, Davey. If he just touches that with his right foot, it's a goal. What I never understand about Maeda, because this has happened in loads of games now, happened in the cup final. with his pace, why does he not go round the goalie?
Yes, thinking the same type thing, Paul. I was watching it on my phone at the time, and you're just looking for a wee bit of one touch round the keeper, roll it into the empty net, game over.
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke about it and we're chatting and stuff like that, and I mean that's 4 times, 4 big occasions when he's been through 1-on-1 in the later stages of the games. They 2 games against Kyrat, the cup final and the Huns at Ibrox, and
Yeah.
that's all it takes. One touch by the keeper, fucking rocket booster zone, and you roll it in. Because we all know that when he thinks about a chance, that's when he's going to miss it.
Yeah.
And it happened again, and it's soul destroying to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you're bringing Onida in that game, Naz, who they could not get out the door quick enough as soon as we got beat. So what kind of mindset he's in? And Ida reminded me, and listen, I've got no qualms about selling him. I don't think he's good enough, Naz, but it always reminded me, every time I see him play, it always reminds me what Gary Lineker said. If you want to score goals, stay in the box.
Yeah, I mean, up to the end of last season, I was still hopeful that he would come good, and that with someone taking the pressure off him, like having a Kyogo, maybe giving him more game time, he would have developed. I always look at the way Forrest developed when Rodgers came the first time. He was ready to leave at the end of his contract. A lot of the fans, and kind of going back to what you said before about homegrown players taking flack, because he was one that was always injured. He'd flatter to deceive. He'd hit a good form, then a lot more bad form. But with Ida, I always thought that he would come good. But this season, and it's surprising me when things are coming out and you're saying there that he didn't want to leave, because you would have
Nah.
thought the way his body language was and the way he was acting was that he was angling for he was the one angling for the move. But it turns out like it's come to the surface now that it was the club or Rodgers that said to him, "You're going to go."
If you remember, right, not to blow my own trumpet, but I told you guys what was happening with him before the team was even back in Scotland. They had refueled in Vienna, which is another whole. I mean, only Celtic could get a fucking plane and needs to refuel in Vienna. I mean, Christ almighty. But so there was obviously an immediate kind of right. We need to get him out the door type thing. And it's amazing how, take you back to few years ago with Dembele, fall out with Rodgers, he was out the door the next game day. It's amazing how great Celtic can be at selling players, but they didn't seem to be fucking any good at buying players, Davey.
No, it's just dragging their heels time and time again, and that's it. When there's a coin to be made, be it with the fans or transfers, then they're on it, and the money's in the bank before you can blink an eye. But spending it's another thing. I mean, Big Ida, just to touch on him though. I mean, I've always said as well, I've never thought he's been Celtic's quality, but in hindsight, when you look at our style of play, we've not played to his strengths at all. And
Good point, aye.
I mean, you look at the goals that he scored down at Villa Park, you look at his cup final winner, and that exactly touches on what you're saying, Paul. Stay in the box, get the break of the ball, you'll put the ball in the net maybe 1 out of 3 times, but that 1 out of 3 times is all we needed to get through that fucking tie. That's all we needed.
See the thing, I think Davey is a great point there, Phelan, right? The way that Ange style Celtic's team is, he understood everybody played a low block against Celtic, right? So he brings in Kyogo, who's a sniffer, right? And you ask any centre halves, when the centre halves went for the likes of Gary Pallister and Steve Bruce to the likes of Virgil van Dijk, was when teams started playing guys right in front of centre halves, sniffing about them all the time. They hated that. They wanted the big guy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But as Davey says, Celtic never changed their style when either came on the pitch or played for the start.
No, that's a very good point Davey makes, all right. Maybe we didn't play enough to his strengths. And I always said, even when he came on loan and fans were giving out, I always felt there was a player there, but he had a bad injury record. And certainly, when he was on loan, it was brilliant. We were maybe playing to his strengths, but I don't know. As you know, I just didn't like his body language on the pitch. I don't think he worked nearly hard enough, and that was my big bugbear about Ida as a player there. But I really felt he could and should have worked. That's your starting point, is work hard. And I don't think he did that nearly enough. And I think there's a reason he was taken off at half time in the first leg against Cardiff, because Brendan wasn't happy with his fucking work rate.
That's right.
And that's your starting point.
The thing is, right, when he came in on loan, his high points were the 2 goals at Easter Road, both penalties, 2 goals at Motherwell, both inside the box, goal at Ibrox inside the box, and goal in the cup final inside the box.
Mm.
You know, it's no rocket science, but yeah, it's just strange. But just to touch on the Europa League as well, Phelan, in terms of the whole sort of toxic nature of Celtic now, do you think there's going to be a boycott of the games?
Yeah, boycotting is really a last resort, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is a boycott from some quarters. There seems to be a lot of, certainly there's more dissent and unhappiness than I've ever seen on social media before.
Yeah,
again, social media, again, you take that with a pinch of salt, but people whose opinions you'd certainly respect, and maybe other podcasts who you might have thought are a bit pro board, I think are changing their tack. A boycott would disappoint me, because you want to support the team, but there comes a time when enough is enough, you know, and it could happen, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, the problem, I mean, the thing is, Naz, right, and it'll kind of wind up here eventually, but I don't think anybody wants to boycott.
No.
But it's the same as in 93, 94. The only thing that these bastards understand, Naz, is money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of the talk you're seeing online from people, even people that maybe kept their counsel a bit, talking about cancelling a home cup ticket scheme, because they're right, okay, they've got our season ticket money, right? Nobody wants to boycott the games. I want to go to the games. I want to get as many games as I can, but I can't. But I was at just about all the cup games at home last season, and I'm thinking now, right, I'm going to do that again, because those were games that I got to take my daughter to, and she's obviously just getting into Celtic, and I don't want to take her away from that. But I'm at a situation where I'm going to disappoint her, but I've got to make a stand. So I'm going to have to try and explain to her that you can't go to games. And so she's 15 now. So you know what teenagers are like. But like you say, it is going to be painful. But something has to be done, and it's going to take the hardcore of fans that will do that.
Yeah, just a sidebar there. Did anybody notice Naz turning an Australian accent there? He was like, I got to take my daughter to, and I had to tell her that. Like, he was like a new character in Noodles or something, for fuck's sake. But okay, I mean, this is a new format for the podcast, and this is our test run, if you like. So we'll no labour it well or anything like that, and we've still got to upload it and that. So there's all fucking a manner of problems that can happen there. I just wanted to finally touch on. I don't know if you picked it up in the chat today, Davey, but did you see the post I directed towards you about Brooklyn Beckham and wife?
No, I missed that, Paul. What was this for?
So,
what was this?
Nicole, I think her name's Peltz or something, is suing the wedding planner.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
And the main reason is the white flowers weren't white enough.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Now, I'm not trying to draw an analogy with your impending wedding, but it does seem like you're marrying her sister.
Well, if it's not the right colours, then fucking sue. Go ahead, then. You're doing the right thing.
So from now on, guys, we now know we call Davey Brooklyn. Because I don't know how I managed to cut up with this, but it was this whole thing. I didn't even know anything about it. That Brooklyn's been estranged for the rest of the family. You know, the Spice Girl and David, and they're all toxic and all that. And I was thinking, this sounds like the Broom family that we know. You know what I mean? There has to be, once we get this podcast up and running, I think we need to have a sidebar episode just called The Bruins. We've just got a weekly update on Davey's wedding, like, you know. But anyway, I'm not going to keep these very longer. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks, guys, for your contributions. And hopefully this will go out to the world very soon. See you later.
Cheers, guys. Enjoyed that.